Welcome to Daily Global Motivation, where ambition is sharpened, discipline is honored, and ordinary thinking is left behind for extraordinary results. Today's message is about the daily habits that turn ordinary people into the rich, because wealth is rarely created by luck or sudden opportunity, but by small decisions repeated consistently when no one is watching. Most people wait for a breakthrough moment, while rich people build their future quietly through habits that seem insignificant in the short term but become unstoppable over time. These habits do not require talent, privilege, or perfect timing, but they do demand discipline, patience, and the willingness to act differently from the crowd. If you've ever wondered why some people rise steadily while others remain stuck despite working hard, simple. The answer is hidden in what they do every single day. Stay with me until the end, because one of these habits is that most people, they never escape an average life, even though they have the potential for much more. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Daily Global Motivation. Because the mindset you are about to hear has the power to change the direction of your life and redefine what you believe is possible. Now take a deep breath, clear your mind, focus your attention, and prepare yourself as we begin. Wealth isn't created by luck. Daily habits and routines are what separate ordinary lives from extraordinary outcomes. Rich people begin each day with intention rather than reaction because they understand that the first hours shape mental clarity, emotional control, and decision-making for everything that follows. Instead of immediately surrendering attention to notifications and external demands, they create a quiet space to think clearly, reflect deeply, and align every action with their long-term goals and vision for the future. This deliberate start trains the mind to lead circumstances instead of reacting impulsively to whatever appears first. Most people rush into mornings already stressed and distracted without realizing how deeply this weakens focus and productivity. Rich people slow down at the start of their day, taking time to plan and focus so they can act with clarity, decisiveness, and peak efficiency later. They use the morning to reinforce discipline and structure rather than comfort or avoidance. Over time, this consistent habit strengthens emotional stability and improves judgment under pressure. That daily control compounds into confidence, fewer costly mistakes, and steady long-term progress. Once the day begins with clarity instead of chaos, attention naturally shifts toward how time is used and protected throughout the day. Rich people treat time as their most valuable resource because they understand that wasted hours silently destroy potential without creating immediate pain. They do not confuse constant activity with meaningful progress, knowing that busyness often hides a lack of clear direction. Every task is evaluated through the lens of long-term value rather than short-term comfort or convenience. Distractions that appear harmless are deliberately removed because even small leaks of attention compound into major losses over time. Ordinary people allow time to pass unnoticed while feeling busy, mistaking motion for progress. Rich people plan their days with intention while remaining flexible enough to adapt when priorities shift. This heightened awareness creates urgency without anxiety, pushing consistent action instead of rushed decisions. Over time, consistent action builds momentum, and momentum accelerates financial growth and opportunity. As time becomes intentional, learning becomes a daily priority rather than an occasional effort. Rich people commit to daily learning because they understand that income grows in direct proportion to skills, perspective, and the ability to solve valuable problems. They read, study, and observe consistently even when progress feels slow or invisible. They trust that this knowledge grows and compounds quietly over time, creating lasting impact. Learning is treated as a lifelong responsibility rather than a temporary phase that ends with formal education. Ordinary people often stop learning once school is over, assuming what they know is already enough. Rich people continue expanding their minds long after schooling ends, knowing relevance depends on constant adaptation. This habit sharpens judgment, broadens perspective, and increases the range of opportunities they can recognize and act on. Improved judgment leads to better decisions that avoid unnecessary losses and wasted effort. By preserving momentum through smarter decisions, learning compounds steadily into long-term wealth and advantage. With knowledge comes the need for action, because information alone never produces real results without execution. Rich people act consistently even when motivation fades, because they understand that discipline outperforms inspiration over the long term. They take small, deliberate actions every day, knowing that progress comes from repetition rather than waiting for perfect conditions. Ordinary people rely on emotional motivation that rises and falls unpredictably, which causes inconsistent effort and stalled results. Rich people instead rely on habits that function regardless of mood, stress, or external circumstances. This steady consistency builds trust in their own ability to follow through on commitments they make to themselves. Self-trust strengthens confidence by proving that action will happen even without excitement or pressure. Greater confidence increases decisiveness, allowing choices to be made quickly without hesitation or self-doubt. Decisiveness creates opportunity by enabling faster movement, while others remain stuck overthinking. As opportunity expands, income potential grows through increased leverage and better positioning. Over time, income grows steadily because consistency compounds into lasting results. As action becomes consistent, discomfort naturally appears, revealing how individuals respond to pressure. Rich people accept discomfort as part of growth because they understand that comfort and progress rarely exist together on the same path. They deliberately choose to do difficult things each day, even when avoidance feels easier and more emotionally appealing. Ordinary people retreat the moment discomfort appears, interpreting resistance as a signal to stop or slow down. Rich people lean into discomfort with awareness and discipline, recognizing it as a sign they are expanding capacity. This repeated exposure to difficulty strengthens emotional resilience over time, rather than weakening confidence. Emotional resilience reduces fear-based decision-making, allowing logic to lead instead of impulse or anxiety. With less fear clouding judgment, clarity improves, and priorities become easier to identify. Improved clarity sharpens execution, ensuring effort is applied in the right direction. Consistent execution builds inner strength through proof of capability and follow-through. As resilience grows, the need for approval fades, letting decisions be guided by purpose, clarity, and long-term values instead of external validation. Rich people focus on creating value, not seeking approval, knowing that recognition fades, but real contribution compounds over time. They continue working with discipline and intention even when no one is watching, praising, or acknowledging their effort. Ordinary people often wait for validation before committing fully, which makes their progress fragile and dependent on external reaction. Rich people commit first and allow results to speak later, trusting measurable outcomes more than opinions or applause. This mindset builds independence by grounding motivation internally instead of tying it to attention or praise. Independence protects confidence by removing emotional reliance on how others respond or react. Stable confidence sustains effort during slow periods when feedback is minimal or progress is invisible. Sustained effort steadily enhances skill, execution, and problem solving. As skills improve, so does the level of value they can consistently provide to others. Sustained effort steadily enhances skill, execution, and problem solving. As skills improve, so does the level of value they can consistently provide to others. That increasing value naturally attracts money, opportunity, and long-term success without needing to chase approval. Finally, all habits are reinforced by the environment people choose to live and operate within, shaping behavior every day. Rich people deliberately shape their environment to support discipline, minimizing the need to constantly rely on willpower or resist unnecessary temptations. They surround themselves with higher standards that naturally elevate their thinking, behavior, and expectations over time. Ordinary people rely heavily on willpower alone, which quickly weakens under stress, fatigue, or emotional pressure. Rich people reduce temptation at the source by removing distractions and limiting exposure to unproductive influences. This intentional design makes productive habits easier to maintain consistently without mental strain. When habits feel easier to follow, consistency becomes natural rather than forced or exhausting. Consistency accelerates progress by allowing steady improvement without repeated setbacks or restarts. As progress shows, momentum builds, reinforcing effort and boosting confidence through consistent results. That confidence sustains long-term wealth by supporting disciplined decision-making through change and uncertainty. When you look at these habits together, it becomes clear that wealth is not created by a single decision or sudden breakthrough, but by disciplined daily actions repeated quietly over time. Ordinary people wait for motivation, permission, or perfect timing, while rich people move forward with structure and consistency even when results are invisible. Over time, these daily choices reshape identity, turning disciplined actions into automatic ways of thinking and deciding. This is why success often appears sudden from the outside, even though it is built slowly and deliberately behind the scenes. Nothing in this process is extraordinary on its own, but the willingness to repeat it every day is what makes the outcome rare. If this message resonated and revealed where change is needed, this is the moment to stop consuming motivation and start living it. Like this video and subscribe to Daily Global Motivation to choose discipline over distraction and growth over comfort. Stay consistent, stay patient, and keep building daily habits because ordinary actions repeated over time quietly create extraordinary success.